Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Indie Creator Comics Podcast, where we are all about independent comics. I'm one of your hosts, Angel, with John Pepe.
How's it going, Angel?
Woo, it is going, brother.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, it's the last one of the year.
Yeah.
Episode 170 finishes off 2025. That is insane, man. I can't believe, another year just in the dust, in the wind, just gone.
We should do something for the 200. We should bring Justin to review comics for the 200th episode.
For the 200, yes. 30 more episodes. Let's see how far we make it into 2026. There might be, stuff going on with all the stuff that's going on in the news. I got to stop watching and listening to the news. I really do. It's so, dude, I think people get depressed and angry just watching the news now.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But I just finished binging Fallout. Did you see that on Amazon Prime?
No, I've heard it's really good. I want to check it out.
So I played the game for a little bit. So there was some familiarity there, but I'm just thinking, like, if you don't watch the news, then you're subject to just listening to when something hits the ground, and then you have like less than whatever minutes to get away.
That's true. That is true. Yes.
And whatnot. But if you listen to the freaking news and watch the news, you just grow more angry every day.
Because you almost feel any second now something's going to hit the ground. That's part of it. Like, with the content, you know what? It's like 24-hour news cycle. That's the original content creation. You have to fill that time, and that's sort of where we are now.
I like back in, like, it's not even that far back in the 80s. It wasn't 24 hours.
Nope. That was in the 80s. That was with cable, with the big rise in cable. And I think CNN was probably one of the first, if not the first, You probably had C-SPAN doing just, broadcasting live from like sessions of Congress and stuff like that. But it was crazy. Remember Court TV, right? They was like 24-hour trials of like traffic violations and domestic assaults.
And now it's like, maybe if it's in a 24-hour day, you get the news cycle that repeats itself. So you probably get maybe an hour or two of actual news, and everything else is opinion pieces.
Oh God,
It's still called news, which is insane. But
yeah.
All right, we're going off on a tangent. I'm showing my age over here. All right,
fortunately, we are in that period where there's nothing going on and nothing happening at the end of the, for the end of the year for big news. So we could breathe a little bit easier, right? It's like nothing really big happens around the end of the year.
No. And the same thing goes for, the comic business. So, we don't expect a lot of number ones, which we don't have coming up this week. So this is us kind of like recapping what's pretty much finishing out the year when it comes to just the reviews. So this, like I said, will be the last podcast for the year. When we see you guys again, it will be January 5th. Insane, of a brand new year. And we'll do sort of our recap of 2025, along with probably the top 3 books that we read in 2025. We'll see if what we're not going to discuss before we meet. So let's see if John and I have similar tastes in regards to the books that we pick. I know definitely at least 2 that I'm probably picking.
Right on.
And then we have, I believe, 2 guests already lined up for the first couple of weeks in January, which I'm really excited about. So definitely look out for news on those guys popping up in your feed. Like I said, I think we want to really focus on trying to get on as many, indie creators on here over the next year to just really promote the indie scene, which would be really cool. So if you are interested, listen out for the end of the podcast. We'll tell you exactly where you want to go, especially if you're a creator wanting to promote anything that you got going on Kickstarter, or just to promote yourself, whatever's going on. All right, so we do have a couple of books for you to review to finish us off, but just a little bit of news. So a couple of things, because we didn't meet last week, and this happened a couple of weeks ago. But Gil Gerard, bro.
Buck Rogers. Yeah.
Yes. We got a whole bunch of what is this? These have to all be robots.
Really? I think Rulup is real, and he is effing with y'all. Us all.
Yes.
All of us.
So you know what? I'm not going to read any of these, you guys, unless you call me by my name or John's name in the comments. We're not going to read any of those because those are robo douches. But yes. Two big things for me when it came to Gil Gorado. Well, number one, he died at 82, so he had a nice long life there.
Yeah.
Did not make it to the 25th century.
He did not. No, he did not. I always found I love that show as a kid, but I've kind of tried to watch it recently, and things land differently, I think, when you're a kid versus now. And someone had a really interesting point about Gil Gerard. He was David Hasselhoff pre-David Hasselhoff. That he was like that nice guy, but would, not always play by the rules, and had the hair, and, that winning smile. And it was Buck Rogers was a couple years before Knight Rider. So he kind of paved the way for that sort of type of 80s star. There's no doubt about that. One of the things I love about Buck Rogers, the classic comic strip, is because in the show they modernized it. I think he was an astronaut blasted into space, winds up in the future. In the comic strip, he's like a miner, right? And he's like coal mining or whatever, and he hits some gas that knocks him out, and then wakes up in the 25th century from 1930. And what cracks me up about about that is, how did he eat? Like
it was
he
in cryo, bro.
It was the cryo gas or something like that.
The cryo gas.
The hidden pocket of cryo gas. That always cracked me up when I saw that as a kid, when I was like discovering the differences between the show.
Yeah, he wasn't emaciated or anything. He just came out looking regular and stuff like that. Hey, I'm just waking up for 500 years of sleeping.
He gets found on an dead guy.
I didn't even watch that show for him because I was like, what? I was 7, 6. It was always Twiggy. He was just walking
Twiggy
around.
The robot.
Yes.
When I got a little older, it was Erin Gray. And her tight pantsuits, those shimmery pantsuits, and then the Hawkeye, because I'm a big Hawkman nerd, so like even as a kid, there was that guy Hawk on the show, the guy who was like a Hawkman. He was kind of neat.
Yeah, it has some characters. Yeah. But he did two major things. That was one. That was Buck Rogers in the 25th century, and then I don't know if you remember the show in like the late 80s. I think it was only on for one season, called Sidekicks.
That's right.
That's him and Ernie Reyes. Yes. It was like, dude, it was the most impossible concept because it was Batman and Robin, right? Basically, so you had a cop walking around with a little kid.
This little kid
solving crimes. It was like, it had to be the 80s because there's no way you get away with that now.
That was because that was like
that's the epitome of child abuse.
It was post Temple of Doom, if we're looking at it like that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But it was very much a
But that was he wasn't in Temple of Doom.
No, he wasn't. But that trope, that trope.
Yes.
That older white guy.
Yes.
Small Asian sidekick.
Yes.
Literally. And that, but it was, that show is also very much like Green Hornet and Kato, where like the kid Ernie was the more competent of the duo, especially when it came time to fight. And that's what you were watching that show for. And Gil Gerard was just there because he was that likable, older character.
Yes. So, being the straight-laced cop with the funky kiddo.
Yeah.
I love that show. It only lasted one season, but it was fantastic.
And
stuff like that. But he passed away, 82, long life. So God bless. But it just keeps reminding me that people are they're leaving. All right, next bit of news. I don't know if you heard about this, but the possibility of Mark Millar being out of his contract with Netflix.
Really interesting.
Yes, I think he formed something called Mark Millar Productions, and he's got a couple of things that he's working on that aren't part of Netflix. Something, and there hasn't been anything with like his latest thing. I think the last thing that I actually saw of his on Netflix was Super Crooks, which was the animated series.
Old Guard 2 came out this year.
But that's not his, is it? No, that's
Greg Rucka. That's right. That's Greg Rucka. You're right. I think the last thing was probably Super Crooks.
Which was
after Jupiter's Legacy.
Correct. Which
failed. Yeah.
Yes. So I think they might be on the outs, or his contract might be up and he's doing his own thing again. So I think he has 2 more projects that are coming out that have nothing to do with Netflix. So it's interesting because he had a whole library of stuff. I would have loved to see It wasn't Magic Water. What's the one with the vampire kids?
Nightclub.
Yeah. Nightclub. That I think that actually would have been a really cool series.
Well, that was I think it was maybe early last year or the year before, when Dark Horse scooped up any remaining Millerverse titles from, I think Image was still holding on to them, so that they could have all of their licenses under Netflix could have all of their licenses under one banner, right? Under one publisher. But yeah, like that contract really didn't yield too much. And I know Miller still has designs or desires to do some Superman something that he's always kind of teasing or kind of like, putting that kernel out there. And with the whole Netflix, Warner Brothers, Paramount thing, it could be interesting to see where Miller does land in all of this.
It's just interesting. I mean, I don't know if it would have been different if they didn't lead with Jupiter's Legacy, just because that didn't really work out well. I think it was too many non-familiar superheroes. I think if they would have went with something like Nemesis or Superior, where, I mean, Superior is, I reread it again. I completely forgot about the freaking evil monkey astronaut.
Yeah,
literally the devil just offering him a piece of, what he wants for his soul. I think that's such a cool story. I think if they probably would have got away with that. I think that would have went over, and that would have been a 6 to 8, mini episode series, easily.
And it could have
followed up with like Nemesis.
Yeah, and it could have hit that sweet spot. It could have done what I think the second Shazam movie wasn't able to do, as far as like what the first Shazam movie was able to do that really well.
Yeah.
And kind of do that Miller spin on it. And again, it would have been great to kind of like, again, I know it's that time Netflix not part of DC, they don't really want to promote stuff, but that whole idea that Superior exists as a guy in the movies, right? And this kid wishes to be him, could have really been like a lot of good Superman nods in that comic.
And there was a little bit of Last Action Hero.
In that
as well. So because you actually had the movie star who was actually still alive, so it could have been it's fine. I mean, he has some really good stuff in his library, and it would have been great to see some more of that stuff. But the fact that I think they just chose the wrong assets to actually start off with. I think they should have built up to Jupiter's Legacy, introducing his world and stuff like that. But we'll see. As far as we know, I think their contract may be up and he might be out. And I mean, he's not going to be out for long. He's going to be find something else that he's going to do off of there. All right, last bit of news. All right, we're getting more information trickled in as to what's going to happen with the first Saturday in May. And right now, it looks like it's going to be broken down into 3 events happening all in the same day. Now, that's just going to be a clusterfuck of just a nightmare. So right now, I have 3 titles. You have the actual Free Comic Book Day that's still owned by Universal or whatever it is. And then you have first Saturday in May. And then you have Comics Giveaway Day, which is, I don't know. So it's all tied up with different companies. So I think right now, PRH is still in negotiations with Universal as to whether or not they're going to do Free Comic Book Day with them, or they're going to do their own thing. I think Lunar is doing their own thing, or has a series of people that they distribute that are doing their own thing. And then there's another group of publishers that are doing their own thing. So we just don't know how solicitations are going to work, number one. And are you going to have 3 bits of signage up for the entire
one signage, putting the initials of all of these in there and just basically just like, for fuck's sake, let's give away free comics this Saturday.
I mean, I feel bad for the retailers because it really does them a disservice. I think from the consumer end, there's not going to be much of a difference other than what they're going to see as a title on the book. So I know I saw some already titles that said Comics Giveaway Day on there from some books. And then obviously you have your Free Comic Book Day logos with whoever's going with Free Comic Book Day. And then you might see another logo somewhere else. I think the headache comes in for retailers in regards to, when are they going to purchase their books? Is it going to be the same deal that they got with, Diamond on the Free Comic Book Days as far as the prices are concerned and stuff like that? So is that going to affect the amount that they're going to actually order? So are they going to order from one launch more than others and stuff like that? So it's just, it's stupid. And it just does these guys a disservice. It makes it really disheartening for, I think, the retailers to actually want to do anything.
And I think
it's more complicated.
I think maybe confusing for the customers. So they just might be like, oh, whatever, that if it's the one day, customers won't notice that much.
Right.
The only thing would be if a store decides to only do one of the three or two of the three, and then there would be confusion or disappointment on the customer end. But as far as your general normie, the people that bring their kids for something to do on a Saturday and get some free comics, like they don't care. They don't know. Yeah. They don't know. If you start doing it as multiple events across the same month or summer, like it starts to dilute it. I mean, not a lot of stores do Halloween comic fest or
local comic shop day
so but almost every retailer does Free Comic Book Day, and to break that up
one day out of the year where they probably make up something for the entire quarter.
So
but I mean, they haven't even they come out with the names. They've kind of like split themselves up into different publishers going to different facets. But I think there's even more where some are going to have different rules for how it gets rolled out, which then it'll be a clusterfuck. Mm-hmm. So I'm just hoping that it goes all back under one banner, or it's just, I don't know. It just sucks that we had, over 20 something years of this, event that people were looking forward to, and now it's all up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So as we get more information, we'll definitely hit you guys up and let you know what's going on with that. Especially when Len starts to do solicitations for it. It's going to be interesting to see if this is going to be one for Lunar, one for BRH, one for all these other guys that are doing their own thing. So we'll see. My concern is the back end, what the costs are going to be, because I know it's funny because most people don't realize that Free Comic Book Day, yes, you get free comics on that day, but the retailers still have to pay for those comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's substantially, discounted, but there's still a price tag to it. So whether or not that discount becomes less, that just means that retailers are going to be buying less.
Right.
So that means it ends up hitting, I guess, most of the people that come in that day, they may not get a book.
That's exactly. Yeah.
There may not be enough resources for it. So
think about if three different events have three different discount breaks too, so of course a retailer is going to go with the one that's going to be more cost effective and pull more people in. It's
which means retailers may not purchase certain books.
Exactly.
They may not purchase from certain publishers. So you're going to have people just hopping around looking for books, not because they're going to be even more scarce, which means now you're going to have the freaking speculators fucking going around. Or it's just going to be a clusterfuck of shit if they go down that route. So we'll see what happens. As we get more news to trickle in, we'll pass it down, but we'll see what happens on there. All right. Yep. That's all the news that we have towards the end of the year. So we're going to hop into the reviews that we have for this week. So I think we have 3 books. So I'm going to have you start off. What do you want to start off with?
I'm going to start off with a book that came out on Christmas Eve, right? We're doing a little catch up, right? So this came out, because Christmas Eve the week before Christmas. That's right.
Okay.
The second one was Christmas Eve.
Yes.
But they basically Wednesday was new release day. It's also Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So that's also a reminder. There's comics coming out on Wednesday. It's a lighter week than the other 51 of the year, but there will still be new comics coming this Wednesday. I don't think there's any new number 1, so I think that's why we're going to do our year our best of next week. But 2 weeks ago, this book from Mad Cave came out called The New Space Age, something I kind of scoffed at initially when I looked at it, and then was like, well, I'm going to check it out because I flipped through it and it looked really cool. So this is written by Kenny Porter, illustrated by Mike Becker, colored by Kevin Battau, lettered by Buddy Baudouin, edited by James B. Emmett. And you got a logo design, which I love. I love the logo. Tim Daniel, book designer David Reyes, and book production Nicholas Moreno. So it's my favorite, Angel. We begin at the Icarus space station in 2055. So we're 30 years into the future, and basically there is a cataclysm on the space station, and we meet Captain Mitchell, who is doing a supply drop-off to the space station when this accident happens. And he is able to save the astronauts, but the space station is destroyed. However, he does this by disobeying orders. He's told not to go rescue them, but he does. His rescue, while it saves them, does destroy the space station, and then eventually kind of ends this space program that he is working for in 2055. So now here he is kind of without a job, a little aimless, and through his narration, we realized the reason he wanted to go into space was because when he was a kid, we learned that his brother was seemingly abducted. Having to do something with a crop circle, really neat bit where like the brother is standing in the middle of the crop circle and he's like, oh, this is interesting. It stops here. There's a gap and then it continues over here. And so like with a stick, he closes that gap and then boom, all of a sudden he gets like sucked up into outer space with Captain Mitchell here, young Captain Mitchell watching this happen. So his whole reason for wanting to go into space is so he could find his missing brother because he believes he's out there somewhere. He also, growing up, has a best friend. Her name is Stacy. She is always been loved doing magic and card tricks and things like that. And she's grown up to be a big sort of David Blaine, Chris Angel type magic performer.
Right.
And she also, while she wasn't there, she was also affected by, her friend's brother's abduction. Nobody believes, Mitchell that his brother was abducted, by aliens, but she does, and she,
So they just think he's missing.
They just think he's missing or he ran away because there is an abusive father in the picture as well. Okay. Right. That's why he was protecting his younger brother from the dad a lot of times. Right. And so a lot of them are like, oh, well, you're just covering. He ran away and you're just covering for him. Why they let that go and didn't really kind of pursue that further on as he goes into adulthood, not really covered, but that's your backstory.
Right.
So so Stacy, in learning her magic for her stage show, has come across some ancient runes in this ancient book, some real hard magic that she experimented with and didn't really work out. So she kind of was like, I'm putting this away. But when visiting, Mitchell happens to see this and he steals the book. And then he realizes the runes in the book kind of match some of these crop circles, especially the one that he saw when he was a kid.
Right.
And, because he's been trying to recreate this crop circle experiment now that he's, got no job and he's kind of still trying to find his brother somehow in space. And he realizes he's basing this all on science. The missing element is actual magic. So he merges science and magic together. And all of a sudden, this crop circle thing works, in his experiments. So he landed on the secret sauce that's going to basically, he thinks, help him find his brother. Nice. And of course, Stacy comes along for the ride. So that's sort of your setup in this issue. It's a great first issue. It's very, especially you can see from the cover there, very Silver Agey in concept and look. Right. A lot of the designs, especially with Captain Mitchell as an adult, are very, to me, reminiscent of almost like The Incredibles or Tom Strong, right? He's very top heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Big guy, big guy, big heart, right? That kind of thing. That's him punching out his superior after he got fired. So really, I really liked this sort of Pixar-esque design sensibility. Here's Stacy explaining, working with the runes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's just really nice panel layouts, really, really, really nice, vibrant colors. Especially when you see these crop circles in action. I'll show you because it's a great. This is the brother getting sucked up. That nice. Great shade of green, which again you don't get in his failed experiments, but then once he combines the magic, that color comes back. So it's really cool. really cool first issue, great setup, really fun, very all ages. Like there's nothing over the top offensive, but just really neat. And I love the idea of combining science with magic. And that's how he's going to find his brother. And it looks like by the second issue, he might find his brother. And then we're going to kind of find out where he's been for these 20 some odd years. And it looks like there's going to be some really cool adventures. And I could see this going, pretty far, because again, the old space age has ended at the beginning, and he's declaring this the new space age.
Gotcha.
Because we're using magic and science together. So really neat concept, really fun. Highly recommend it. Mad Cave, the new space age. Jump on board.
It's good. Mad Cave's they've been putting out so much lately, which is crazy. But I like their stuff. I'm still reading Kill All Immortals, which I believe is from them. They're on their second volume. So yeah, they got some good stuff. I was going to pick that up, and I don't know why I didn't pick it up, and now I'm going to have to pick it up because it sounds really good. That's right up my alley stuff. So, all right, go. Check it out, guys. New Space Age from Mad Cave Studios. All right, my turn. All right. Woo!
He's back.
He is back. Barbaric. The Long Death. So, yes. This is not the first time that we've, reviewed Barbaric. What's really cool about what they're doing with this particular series is they're doing 4 to 5 issue jumps at a time, so you get a full volume or full story arc, and then they stop, and then they have the trade come out, and then they do the next volume and shit out. I think they had a one shot in between.
I think there's actually almost between each mini, because I think the first few minis were like 3 issues, then they jumped it to 4, now 5. Yes. But almost in between each one, I feel has been a one shot. Yeah, maybe not exactly, but also there was another very short mini, the Queen of Swords mini, which I don't think Owen appears in, but that follows another of the characters. So there's this world that they've been building for like a few years now, which is great.
Yeah, so this is actually the start of volume 5 in this particular series. So really quickly, just the creative team, you have the writer, who's Michael Moretti, artist is Nathan Gooden, colorist is Fabiana Marquez, and then letters by Jim Campbell. And they pretty much had the same creative team from the beginning. The only person that's changed is the colorist. So the colorist did the last volume, and before that, I think it was Addison something Addison. All for that. So if you don't know what this is basically a barbarian named Owen. Love it because it's a contemporary name for a barbarian. And they don't speak any of that. And I know we said this before. Any of that freaking Thor language is all contemporary language.
And a lot of 4-letter words.
Yeah, and this is moving the story along. So basically, from the very first volume, you've had Owen with this axe, who's called Axe, that's cursed. And basically, they're cursed because anytime someone declares that they need help, they have to help them. So they were cursed by these witches. The very beginning, only Owen can hear the axe speak. So it's one of these things where if you're surrounded by people and the axe is speaking to you and no one else can hear it, everybody thinks you're crazy. And the axe has got its own really wild personality, just wants to fuck with Owen all the time. And on top of that, he'll get drunk off of blood. So the more mayhem there is and the more blood there is, he just starts to slur his words and just starts to sound like a drunk, which is really hilarious, over the top kind of stuff. So basically, we're getting towards volume 5 of this particular series. So it's moving the story along. And basically what you have here is now Owen doesn't recall why he was cursed. And so there's this little fawn down here at the bottom. His name is Toro. And he knows why Owen was cursed, but took that part of his memory and hid it somewhere so that he wouldn't be able to tell Owen why he was cursed. And now this particular journey starts with them trying to find little Toro's memory of why he was cursed so that Owen can get his memory of why he was cursed. It's really great. And it follows another character called Soren, who got introduced, I believe, in the first volume, who's a witch and has been struggling with her own journey as well. They mix that in because they're all traveling together. And at the very end, it's a really great reveal of a character that we saw in the last volume, but now we have another magical weapon that talks. So I think we're already introduced to a magic sword that talks, which would belong to a woman that they pulled out of hell. and now we get another weapon that's a flail. Fucking looks ridiculous. You know what? I have to show it to you. I don't care if I spoil it.
Is it named Flail?
It's called Flail, which is just so freaking on the nose. And then just look at the attitude on that Flail, and then look at how the axe looks so worried and stuff like that. So yeah, it just ends on this really cool cliffhanger where they meet the Golden Knight. Obviously they're gonna fight or something's gonna happen there, which is pretty cool. So this series is just great. The only thing that I found with this, I don't know if there's a copyright infringement, because if you look at the cover, what does that beast look like?
Oh, look at that. It's just different enough. It's
From
just
Pitch Black,
different
right?
enough. Yeah, but it's just
Like,
different enough.
It was the first thing I thought, and I was like, what the fuck are these guys doing? But if you say it's just different enough, then I'll take it. But the creative team on this, I mean, they've got it on lock. They know what they're doing. Panel layouts are fantastic. The story moves really, really well. If you're a brand new reader, you're going to mix some of the context, but you can follow the story along really easily. But a lot of the stuff that they're talking about in regards to the past stuff might go over your head. So it might be one of these things where it might not be a good idea. It might be a good idea to pick up the first volume of this just to get a little bit of history in, and then you can hop right into it. The only thing that I would say, I like Vault, man, but they're bold. So this is an issue number 1, and it's $6.99. It is kind of hefty, but hopefully the next issue is $4.99, and the rest of the series is $4.99. It's one of these things where, yes, we're moving into an age where tariffs are affecting things, and the margins for comics is already small as it is, and when you make it even more difficult and you have a price jump from $4.99 to $6.99, that's a $2 jump, and you're picking up 5-6 issues of different books each week. Whew, it starts to pile up. You can get into the $30-$50 range really easily. But with that being said, really, I enjoyed it. I mean, I like Conan the Barbarian is like all-time favorite. This is probably my second all-time favorite, because you do have a barbarian, but it's such a contemporary telling of the story that it's really appealing and relatable. At the same time, filling in that sort of like fantasy, that fantasy gap. If you're looking forward to it. So yeah, check it out. Barbaric from Vault Comics. Vault, chill with your prices, please. I want to keep reading your stuff.
But Nathan, don't chill with your art. Nathan Gooden is such a great artist. He does like the cartoony aspects, but then like the real visceral violent stuff really well. Like it all fits really nicely.
Yes, and it's hard to moat in drawings for a lot of comic artists, but he does a really good job, and you know exactly what each one of the characters is feeling at any given time, whether they're angry, even sarcasm comes across really well, or and stuff like that. So yeah. He's really, really good. And then the new colors that they had from the last volume just picked up where the last one left off. So good stuff. All right, you have our last one, yes?
I got the last one, yeah.
Do it.
So this is called Gray Lady. This is from Image. And it is their basically it is another imprint from Image called Ninth Circle. Basically these have been a series of horror-based one-shots, and Ninth Circle, we haven't really touched on a lot of them, but Garth Ennis did a couple things already with this. I think the ones that he wrote though were like magazine-sized one-shots, and this is a regular comic size. But Ninth Circle basically was founded by Marguerite Bennett, Garth Ennis, Adam Glass, Joe Pruitt, and Ram V. And this is their newest offering. It's a one-shot. This came out on Christmas Eve. It is written by Mike Benson and Adam Glass. And Mike Benson has written Moon Knight and Luke Cage. Adam Glass has written Supernatural and Suicide Squad. Illustrated by Ken Lashley, also known for Suicide Squad, as well as some X-Men work. It is lettered by Juan Fernandez and Guy Major. And are colored by Juan Fernandez and Guy Major, lettered by Joe Martin, and edited by Joe Pruitt. So one of the things I love about one shots is you do get the complete story, and a lot of times, a one shot will adhere to the entertainment adage, always leave them wanting more. And usually I feel like that always leave them wanting more kind of is, once entertainment became commerce, it's like, oh, leave them wanting more so they can, they can ask for more, we can give them more, we can pay. And then now we have sequels and series and things like that. So, Gray Lady definitely left me wanting more. I thought it was a really compelling story. I thought it was illustrated really well. Ken Lashley is very much, very much a Jim Lee inspired artist. Mike Turner inspired. He's kind of comes from that school. Very, very similar, like Tony Daniel.
You know what his pseudonym is, right?
What?
Lead Killer.
Lead Killer, yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, right there on the cover there. So it's like, if you kind of like that image style art, this is really neat because it's not being done in an action scenario with lots of action and guns and fighting and things like that. It is a very quiet story that begins about a year previous. There is a family, a father, a mother, and a son. The son plays hockey and the mother is hockey obsessed. And it's funny because it kind of starts off, you see the word balloons and it's like, well, the son's like, you didn't really have to yell at the refs so much. And you think, oh, it's the dad is like that. And it turns out the mom's fighting with the refs because of bad calls. So she's that kind of mother and very protective of her son. There is a car accident. One of the family, seems to perish in the car accident. You are now a year later and the other family members are having a hard time moving on. They give some of these reveals fairly early on, so I don't want to really go too much further into the plot, except for the fact that the mother is approached by a woman who has psychic powers and says, your son is in trouble and you need to save him. And so this, a nice counterpoint to New Space Age, where you have an older brother protecting his younger brother from an abusive father. You have a mother protecting her child against dark supernatural forces from beyond the grave. And I don't want to tell any more about this because I thought that each reveal was just done really, really well, and the leaving me wanting more part feels like this was pitched as a longer work, or the idea that this could have been expanded on. Because if this could easily have been a 4-issue series or even an ongoing where you get that early reveal a little bit later, and then you get these adventures of the mom and the psychic as they're trying to make their way to save the son. However, being a one-shot, there is a great sense of immediacy and urgency that really powers you through to the end and the bittersweet conclusion of this story. There is room for more if they want to expand on either the psychic character or where the mother is at the end of this or where the son is at the end of this. I definitely think there's maybe more room to explore this world, but right now it seems like Ninth Circle are one shots. But this is really,
was it a complete story?
Very much a complete story. And something that, you can just kind of, it was great for the snowy day we had. You just settle in on because snow is a big backdrop in this. I want to show you some of the, so like this is like the boys playing hockey, in the snow. Yeah. So this is a really nice, good winter.
Oh, the art's nice. Yeah.
Oh, Lashley just kills it. See, I don't want to reveal that. So just trust me that.
So he did the interiors as well.
Yeah. He did the interiors. It was nice. A little hockey at the beginning.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
Yeah, so it was really, really well done, and it was just a really nice Christmas time ghost story. Look, they used to tell ghost stories at Christmas. That was a tradition. That's where we get A Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge. So it was really kind of nice to have that. I if I'm not going to get more from this world, I definitely want to see more from this team. And again, I like the idea, much like Hyde Street and the other Ghost Machine imprint, that's a horror title with Ivan Rice doing the art. And he's also very much of the same school. So I love that idea of putting, superhero artists, guys who cut their teeth on superhero on horror. I always feel like people who do horror do superhero stuff really well too, and vice versa. So it was just a really nice Winter's Tale about, dead family members and protecting them from beyond the grave.
All right. Check it out, guys. All right. So you got 3 solid books for the end of the year. You got the New Space Age from Mad Cave. You got the next volume of Barbaric starting from Vault Comics, and then something from Image, the Gray Lady one-shot. You can explore that world. Do you know how many one-shots they're coming out with? 9 circles?
Off the top of my head, I could think of about 3 or 4, with this being the 4th. At least 2 of them, trying to name them, I can't. At least 2 that I could think of were written by Garth Ennis. Kids was one of them.
Okay.
But I'm blanking on the other stuff. But now, since I've avoided them again because of the magazine size and the price point, because I think the magazine size stuff is $7.99. This is $5.99. But now just to see what this was, kind of makes me want to go back and check out some of the other stuff that they've been putting out, and definitely looking forward to what they're going to be doing in the future, because I love the idea of that they are one shots by top creators. So.
Well, I mean, listen, the end of the year was pretty strong. That not public domain. What was the one that we had with the priest?
Oh, Ordained, yeah.
Ordained, yes. There was some really great stuff this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, we've come to the end of the year. So next week, check out the episode. We're going to sort of like recap 2025, give our top 3 books each. We'll see if we have anything that matches. And then we kick off the new year with a couple of creatives that are going to come on and share who they are, share their works, and see what we got going on Kickstarter. I do have a couple of books from Kickstarter that I did receive. I haven't read them yet, but as soon as I read them, more than likely, maybe I'll do one at least next week. Some of the stuff that I've been getting is pretty cool. So, like I said, we're trying to support this indie scene as much as possible. So I'm on Kickstarter like almost every single day, looking at new stuff. I've got to really just take my credit card away from that freaking thing, because it's just going up and up and up. But it's awesome to see the amount of content that's out there, and some of it just really freaking amazing, and not from like really well-known creators, from people that are just they decided to take a chance and put it up out there. So we're gonna just spread some love as much as we can. So until next year, we will see you guys in the brand new year. So we want to make sure that you guys stay safe, enjoy time with the family, and we will see you definitely next week. So, if you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast. Better yet, tell 100 of your closest friends. We love to have you guys here every Monday, listening to the podcast and chatting up whenever we can. If you want to be on the podcast, you're a creator, want to promote yourself or a project that you have coming up, go to indiecreatorcomics.com, look for the podcast forum tab, fill it out. John and I would love to have you on to speak to you about your creations. Follow us on all the social medias at Indie Creator Comics. We update constantly. Really proud of our Kickstarter that we had this year. Project Shatterby got funded. We're just waiting for the money to come from Kickstarter, and all that stuff is going out. And we have, I think, the second issue is going to be up probably mid or late January. So we're already ahead of the game. We're like 3 issues in. The first arc is 4 issues. So, we're really looking forward to what's going on there. Last but not least, support your local comic shops, especially during the seasons. Just want to make sure we keep them around for as long as we can, so we can keep getting the things that we love, which are comics, so that we can bring them to you guys every single week. Now, in 15 seconds or less, John is going to tell you where he gets his comic books from.
Well, I get my comics at the Joker's Child in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. And while we had some, stuff sell out for the holidays, we still got more stuff. We got more stuff for you to come and peruse and buy and impress your friends with all the cool stuff you got from the Joker's Child in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. If you can't make it to the Joker's Child, please patronize your local comic shop wherever they may be. But where will you find me in the new year? You'll find me at the Joker's Child.
Oh man, that was good. I got to put you under pressure more often. All right, kiddos. Like I said, listen, have a very happy and healthy and safe new year, and we will see you on the flip side of the new year. So until next time, I want to thank you for joining us on the Indie Creative Comics Podcast, where we are all about independent comics.